Greetings and welcome to Innovation Management Group's Build-A-Board software. This is the How to Build a Board video, the fourth video in the Build-A-Board How-To video series after the How to Create a Board video. Now that we're happy with our board, we are going to want to save it with a project name that we choose. By default, your project will be saved with the untitled project name, as you can see on the upper left here. What we'll have to do is do a file save as, and this will then allow us to enter our own name for the project so that when we build the board, we'll be able to identify it. So with the file save as dialog, you have a listing of existing projects, but we're going to type in my board as a new project name to identify our board. And you'll notice now on the upper left for the title bar indicates the project name, and there's also then your source location indicated in the status bar on the left. Now we want to identify the runtime target that we're going to be building this board for. So from the runtime menu, you pick the select target system, and here is a list of all the available targets that you can build your board for. They include Windows CE, Android, various Windows, Linux. For our example, we're going to be using Windows 64-bit. So all you do is select that as your target and click OK. You'll notice on the upper right status bar area what target you'll be building for, and this will change after you change targets. Now that we've saved our project with our project name My Board and selected our target, we can build. You can build using the F9 key, the F9 button, or from the Build menu, the Build option. So when you're building, you're actually creating a KBF file, or the keyboard file. After it's built, you have the option of running Mightysoft to see what it looks like. The ability to test within Windows can sometimes be useful or helpful, and obviously if you're targeting Windows it makes a lot of sense. But in other cases you might be targeting a different operating system, and it's just a convenience to be able to test your built board. So we'll go to the Runtime menu and do Select Target System, and as an example we'll just pick an Android option. We'll go through the same process, click on the F9 Build button and create the new KBF. And of course we can still test in Windows. Obviously nothing has changed. So we'll close the board, but the reason we did that is to actually have now multiple target folders. So if we go to the Runtime menu and show Output Target folders, you'll see that in the Public Documents Build-A-Board Target, you will have all, for your project, your My Board project, you will have the various projects that you've built. So if we look into the Android folder, you'll see there will always be a keyboard.kbf, your project name.kbf, and then either the runtime software or the runtime install software, which is an APK for Android. For MS Win 64, you'll see the Mightysoft application along again with a keyboard.kbf and your myboard.kbf. So we can actually run it from there, and you'll see that you have your keyboard running in Windows. You will always have a test folder, which is essentially the MS Win 32 or the 32-bit Windows version to test your board in whatever version of Windows you're running Build-A-Board in. And finally, in your project folder, you will have the keyboard.kbf and your project name here, the myboard.kbf. Keyboard.kbf is the default file or default layout that will open when the Mightysoft application opens. It is a duplicate file of the project name.kbf, or here myboard.kbf, which can be used when working with multiple boards opening each other. So to review, we've learned how to build a board today. It's as simple as the F9 key or the Build menu. You have the option of running the board to test it, and then we also looked at the Runtime Select Target System, where you can select the actual operating system or version that you're trying to target with your project, and finally looked at the output folders to gain an understanding of the way that Build-A-Board manages your built projects. So this wraps up the How to Build a Board video in the Build-A-Board How To video series. Thanks for joining us today. Next video is how to test and modify your board.